Good morning Prep H, hope you're having a lovely day so far today. Today for our read aloud I'm going to be reading you a book called Wabi Sabi. This book is about a cat who lives in Japan whose name is Wabi Sabi. But he doesn't know what his name is, so throughout this book he goes on a big adventure to try and find out what his name actually means. Now I chose this book for today's read aloud because it is set in Japan, and for today and the rest of the week we're going to be learning about the Olympics, which is a big sporting event that happens every 4 years, and this year it is being placed and played in Japan. So this book shows lots of pictures of Japan, shows some of the culture, the costume and some of the food as well, just so we can get to know a little bit more about Japan. So I hope you enjoy the book and I hopefully get to see you soon. Bye!
Wabi Sabi. Wabi Sabi. Wabi Sabi was a cat who lived in Kyoto, Japan. One day, visitors from another country asked Wabi Sabi's master what her name meant. It had never occurred to her before that Wabi Sabi was anything more than her name. Wabi Sabi watched as her master drew breath through her teeth, shook her head and said, "That's hard to explain." Curious now, Wabi Sabi wondered if her friend Snowball could explain the meaning of her name to her. Snowball, who had been napping, stretched, yawned and sighed. "That's hard to explain," she blinked. "It's a kind of beauty," she added after a minute, her eyes closing again as though dreaming. She went on, "An old straw mat rough on cat's paws, pricks and tickles, hurts and feels good too." Then Snowball went back to sleep. Wabi Sabi wasn't sure she understood, but she didn't want to bother Snowball anymore. So she asked Rascal, the dog, if he knew about Wabi Sabi. Rascal was smart, but kind of mean. "That's too hard to explain to someone like you," he snapped. Then almost to himself he said, "Poor Wabi Sabi, as simple as a brown leaf. So ordinary." "Now I'm even more confused," sighed Wabi Sabi. "Am I beautiful or ordinary? Can anyone explain Wabi Sabi to me?" she cried. A bird flying by thought the question was for her. "That's hard to explain," she said to Wabi Sabi, "but there is someone who can help you. His name is Kosho, and he lives on Mount Heihei, to the east. A wise old monkey living among the pine trees knows Wabi Sabi." "Thank you," said Wabi Sabi, and off she went to learn what her name meant. To go to Mount Heihei, she had to cross through the city, dazzled by big buildings, shiny glass, and sleek cars. Awed by the busy, sharply dressed people, she wondered if these pretty things could be Wabi Sabi. She decided that if her name was true to her, it must be softer, quieter, darker. A short time after Wabi Sabi entered the woods, she arrived at the foot of Mount Heihei. The woods were dark now, so hoping to find Kosho in the morning, she curled up beneath an old pine tree and went to sleep. She awoke to the sounds of a stick stirring and tapping. A warm bowl of tea offered by a monkey. "Please." Steam rising gently. "Very glad to have the tea and company," she said. "Thank you. My name is Wabi Sabi." "That's wonderful," the monkey replied. Encouraged, she asked, "Do you know what that means?" "Well, that's—" he began. "I know hard to explain," she said, but he went on. "The pale moon resting on foggy water. Hear that splash? A frog jumped in." "That's Wabi Sabi?" she asked. "Is that all? I don't know if I can—" "It's more," said the monkey. "Listen, watch, feel." He said no more, so she watched him make tea. He moved slowly but gracefully, as if he were dancing, and he handled his things as if they were gold, although they were wooden or clay. Wabi Sabi felt what was in her paws. A warm, heavy bowl, comfortable as an old friend, not fine, smooth china. She looked carefully at the woods surrounding them. There was so much life, as in the city, but here things were not clean, neat, or sharp-edged. There were no straight lines, yet there were many designs on trees, in clouds and dirty ponds. She saw that everything was alive and dying too, like the damp autumn leaves curled beneath their feet. "Simple things are beautiful," she heard the monkey say as he poured more tea for her, looking down at the tea in her bowl. Seeing herself plain and beautiful, she whispered, "Now I understand." Tired but glad, Wabi Sabi returned at last to her house. She curled up on the straw mat in the kitchen, enjoying the warmth there. She could smell the wind in her fur and feel her long journey steps deep in her bones. "Now I think I know what to call this feeling," she said to herself. Wabi Sabi, cried her master, seeing her. Where have you been? That's hard to explain, she purred, feeling simply and beautifully at home.